Hello there, and welcome to Genshin Impact Character Concepts, where I come up with different ideas for possible future Genshin characters and go a bit into what they are about and how their kit would work. Now, the same night I came up with the archaeologist character, which was the dual elemental geodendro guy, which I think now that I think more about it, and I went through it again, should have been a better off as a full dendro character, and I might redo that concept at a later date. Anyway, at that same point, I also got an idea for a duo of characters that would work pretty good together, similarly to how Hu Tao and Xingqiu synergize their abilities. The second character will also get their own video, but for now, let's get into Genshin's first Cryo Catalyst user. That will be really useful in a permafreeze composition or in a shattered based nuke burst theme. Okay, let's go over the basics. The character will be a Cryo Catalyst user that will focus on being in close combat with the enemies, but will also have a way to get out of danger other than the dodge mechanic. As the title of the video suggests, this character and the way they attack will be based off of Persian/Middle Eastern dancers. Now, this whole dancer thing was decided before Nilo was revealed in the trailer a few days ago. The main concept of the character isn't necessarily the dancing aspect of it, so in the end it could also be changed to the character being a researcher from the academia. Now, their normal attack will summon icicles above the targeted enemy. These icicles will have a slight homing capability, so that if the enemy tries to dodge or move, there would still be a chance that the attack hits said enemy. The normal attack will be ranged, so that you would have a way to do damage without putting the character in danger. But if you want to get the most out of their DPS, you would want to be in close range. The charge attack is a lot simpler, and it will only create a small shockwave of ice and icicles centered around the character. The elemental skill will be similar to Ganyu's, but only in the fact that the character dashes backwards from their position. This elemental skill will also leave an icy trail behind the character, which any enemy that walks or stays on the icy trail will take a cryo damage over time effect that persists for a while even after walking off of it. The trail also applies cryo to enemies, and it would last around 7 seconds or so with a cooldown of about 10 or 12 seconds. Most of these numbers and future numbers are purely speculative and not to be taken as specifics. And now for the main attraction of the character, the elemental burst. After activating the burst, 5 shockwaves, or something similar to that in the animation that would play, emit from the character. The first and the last shockwave deal purely physical damage, but they also count as blunt attacks, thus allowing the character to shatter frozen enemies. The middle 3 attacks will be cryo, so that with good elemental application, you are able to get the shatter at the start, then freeze the target or targets around you in order to shatter again with the last hit of the burst. I was thinking of having 0.5 seconds between each hit of the burst, but this might need to be changed depending on the internal cooldown and how the elements react alongside said cooldown. Also, you are not stuck in place or in an animation as the hits go off. You are able to attack, move, or use skills during the burst, and this way you could use Xingqiu or other Hydro units to apply Hydro so you could get the second freeze needed. The one problem is that if you do swap off the character before the burst concludes, so before 2.5 seconds have gone by, so you would get the 5th hit, the burst would be cancelled and the final hit or final few hits would not go off. Now, how would you want to play the character though? Well, you could use it as a cryo applicator for your team, since the elemental skill applies cryo for quite some time if you hold the enemy on it, but you also get cryo application from the normal / charge attacks too, since we are talking about the catalyst user. You could stop at that and try to build Noblesse to buff your main DPS, or you could have the character itself be the DPS. Either by going Blizzard Strayer and focusing on attacks, elemental skill DOT, damage over time, and the middle attacks from the burst, or you could build physical DPS alongside having some elemental mastery in order to boost the shatter damage that is dealt with the 1st and the 5th burst hits. Now, I talked a bit before about a second character that would go well with this one. Well, the next character concept will focus on that character, which is a Hydro Melee Catalyst user that will be able to do the same work that Shinsho does, but would fit a bit more with this character. Now, when it comes to anything related to lore or background, I'm not really sure what I could do, since we don't know much about the Sumeru story. For the archaeologist character, it wasn't too hard, since we saw ruins and pyramids in the trailers, so it made sense to meet him once we would delve into said ruins. The Hydro Catalyst user I came up with also has some lore done, mostly because he takes part into an interlude story that's somewhere else that we've been before. So, I'm not entirely sure. If the dancer aspect would be to remain lore-wise, background-wise, I don't really have anything, but if I would be to change the character to be a scholar or a researcher in the academia, their role would fit a bit more into the story the game might tell, with its focus on the academia itself. Either way, I want to thank you guys for watching this video and listening to me ramble on about a character that will never exist. And I hope I'll see you in the next one. So thanks for watching.